In H10 day 1, we're revising the long E sound where we're using EA this time for the long E sound. So the easiest way I can suggest to you to remember whether it's an EA or a double E is that most of the words that have EA in them we can somehow relate to or associate to eating. So like a meal is where you eat a lot. Sometimes you might have to push that association a bit. So you might have to talk about it with your family or with your teacher to work out how you can associate each of these words to the word eating to make them easier for you to remember that they have the EA sound in them. So let's go through and read the words and we'll read them and highlight them as we go. Heel, heel, eel, meal, eel, teal, eel, real, eel, steel, eek, week, eek, leak, eek, beak, eek, speak, eek, streak. Okay. So sometimes we spell words differently but they sound the same, and that's just to show that they mean different things. So here we've got heal. This means when you get better. So if you eat good food, your body will heal quicker. So you can also have a heel with the double E, but that means the back part of your foot, which is like a ball at the bottom of your ankle. So that's the heel of your foot. So they're spelt differently, so we know they mean different things. So if we were reading a story or writing a story with heel in it, we'd know by the way the word's spelt which heel they're referring to. So after a long vowel sound, we know also that we put an L. Not two L's, just one L after a long vowel sound is another important rule. Now if we jump to the bottom, just for very quickly, we can also see that for a long vowel sound down here, we're just going to put a K. We only put CK after a short vowel sound. After a long vowel sound in a short word, we put a K. Okay, so let's go back to where we are at the top with looking at our meanings. We've got eel, we've already discussed. That's when you have food, you have breakfast, lunch and dinner, or some people call the evening meal tea. It's where you have a meal where you sit down and you enjoy eating quite a bit of food at one of those meals. Teal is a colour, it's sort of a bluey green colour, like that colour of the heart. Real is something that is very real, it's here, we know it, it's not make-believe. So we all know we have a heart inside us, it's very important, it keeps us alive. So it's not make-believe, it's definitely there. Steal, now this steal means when someone takes something from you without asking. There is another steal, but this is the metal steel, and it's spelt differently, so we know it means something different. Weak, this means you're not strong, you're weak, or if you had a cup of tea and it had a lot of milk in it, we'd say it was quite weak. It means not a lot of something in it. So there's another week too, and that's spelt with the double E, and that means the days of the week. So we can see these are spelt differently, so we know they mean different things. This leak means you might have a leak in a bucket or in a container and all the liquids flowing out. There's another leek too, but this is a leek, a long green vegetable that you might use in a soup or something. So it's something we eat. A beak, a bird eats with a beak, so that might help you remember that it's something to do with eating. So that part of their mouth, that hard part, helps the birds to eat. It's a beak. Speak is when we talk. Streak could be a line or a streak, just a line of something across a piece of paper, or if you have a streak across your windscreen, it'd be like a line of dirt or smudge across something. So it's a long line of it. Okay, let's read the words, sound the words, spell the words and write them. We've got heel, h-e-ul, 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 H-E-A-L, H-E-A-L, H-E-A-L. Cover it, write it, 3 times and check it to make sure you've got it right. Now this is why it's very important that you sound the words and you spell them, because we have to identify that in all of these words we're using EA for the long E sound, not double E, as we learnt in the previous list. So we've got eel, meal, eel, meal, eel, meal, 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 cover it, meal, meal, meal. And just by saying those letters and sounds out loud, it really helps your brain to remember them much easier. Okay, H10 day 2, we're revising that the EA can make a long E sound in words. And it can also make a short X sound, but today we're dealing with the long E sound. Now the only hint I can give you to remember if a word has EA in it for the long E sound or EE is that most of the EA words we can somehow relate to eating. So heal, if you eat good food you may heal quicker if you're sick. So the heel on your foot has 2 E's in it. So sometimes we spell words differently to show that they mean different things. Meal, well, we eat a meal when we eat, so that's something to do with eating. Teal is a colour, it's a bluey green colour, so you might be able to think of some foods that are that colour. Real, food is a real thing in everyone's life, so you could relate it to eating that way. Steal, some people who are very poor have to steal food to eat. Weak, if you don't eat food you could become quite weak. So there's another week as well, and that's spelt with the double E in it, and that's like there's 7 days of the week or the 5 days of the week that you go to school. Leak, you could say sometimes the gravy might leak onto your table from your plate or something like that. A beak is part of a bird that they use to eat with. You shouldn't speak when you eat. And a streak, you might have a streak of gravy on your plate, left on your plate or something like that, or sauce. Okay, so let's read the word, sound the word, spell the word and write them. So we've got heal, H-E-L, H-E-A-L. You cover it and write it. You can finish off those. I'll put in this other steel here. So this steel means the metal steel. It's very hard that we use in a lot of buildings. And I think that's about the only. You could have a fishing reel here, so that's another way of writing the word reel, but the rest should be fairly well the same. Okay, so here you've got to write a list word to match the meaning. A bird's jaw, that's a nice easy one, will be a beak. You can go through all of those on your own and the answers are all there. Antonyms mean the opposite, so what's the opposite to strong would be weak. These ones are fairly easy that you can do on your own. Now homophones are words that sound the same but they're spelt differently and they mean something different. So we just talked about this steel being the type of metal, whereas this is when you take, this steel is when you take something without asking, and you shouldn't take it. Heel, this heel means when you're getting better, whereas this is the heel on the bottom of your feet. So I hope the sore on my leg will heal quickly, so that would be this one, means get better quickly. You can finish off the rest of those on your own. Make new words, you're going to go meal time, so leave out the space, join both words together to make a compound word. Sticky beak, once again write the words close together so they become a compound word. Off you go. H10, day 3, we're revising EA for the long E sound. And in these words it's in the middle, but it could be at the start of the word too. We don't usually write EA at the end of a word. So the best way to remember the words with EA in them for the long E sound is to try and associate the word somehow with eating. That's about the only hint I can give you. Okay, so let's read the words. We've got h-e-l, heel, m-e-l, meal, t-e-l, teal, r-e-l, reel, st-e-l, steel, w-e-k, weak, l-e-k, leak, beak, beak, speak, speak, streak, streak. Now you know if a word has a long vowel sound in it and it ends in a k sound, we're using a K after a long vowel sound. So you might want to highlight that as well. You also know that if we have a short word with a long vowel sound and it ends with L, we only put one L at the end of the word. So you could highlight both those different things in those words. And let's read the word sound, the word spell words and write them. So we're going to go heal, H-E-L, H-E-A-L. We're going to cover it and write it. Once then check to make sure that you've written it correctly. You can finish those off on your own. Now down here we've got verb families. So first of all we have to work out what the base word is. So the base word of healing is heal. So you have to write the base words in. Then the next thing is here we're adding the S to those words. Then we're adding the ing here. And on the last one we usually add ed for past tense. But here we've got healed, yes, that's okay. Leaned, yes. We don't say speaked, we say spoke. So that's an irregular verb. So you know you're not adding the ed there. You're changing that into spoke. And steal, we don't say he stealed something from me. We would say he stole. So you have to change that word, that spelling in that word to say stole, not stealed. Okay, plurals is when we add S to the end of a word to make it mean more than one. So I've got one meal, several meals, one beak, many beaks. So we're adding S to the end of those. Make new words. You just have to write those two parts together, the base word with the bit we're adding on to make a new word. And they're quite easy for you to do. Comparatives and superlatives, where we add to make something mean more, and we add est, est to make something mean the most. So we'd have weak, weaker, weakest. Down the bottom it says put these words in alphabetical order. So let's say the alphabet and see if we can find the first one, and you can finish it off on your own. A, no, we're looking at the first letter in all of these words. No, there's not a word starting with A. B, yes, we've got beak. So the first word in alphabetical order, those words would be beak. C, D, you can keep going through the alphabet until you finish off and you've used all those words. It's not a bad idea to just put a line through them as you use them so you know which ones are left. Off you go. H10 day 4, we're looking at syllables in the first part of the page, and the bottom part we're doing a sound sort. So let's look at these syllables first. We're looking at closed syllables and open syllables. So a closed syllable always has a short vowel sound in it, and we close it with a consonant. So it always ends with a consonant. And the consonant stops that vowel sound from growing into a long sound. So it says the short vowel A is followed by a consonant. The syllable is closed in by the consonant. It's stopping it from growing into a long sound. Now an open syllable ends with a vowel, and the vowel is making a long sound. Here it's a short sound A. Here we've got the letter E and it's making its long sound E. Nothing comes after the long vowel. There's no consonant after it. The syllable is open because nothing is keeping it in. It's just grown into a long sound. Now when you have a vowel followed by an R, we call it an R-controlled vowel, and all the R-controlled vowels make a long sound. So if the vowel is followed by an R, it is a long sound. The syllable is open because nothing is keeping it in. It's a long sound. So sort into open, closed or vowel R syllables. So let's do the vowel plus R syllables orange. So any of these that end with a vowel and an R, you'd colour in orange. Then we'll do the open syllables That means they're going to end with a vowel. So that ends with a vowel, that one, you can finish off the rest of them. And then we'll use blue perhaps for the closed ones. You can use other colours, but the closed ones always end with consonant and have a short vowel. Atten, yeah, short vowel, ends with consonant. Not, short vowel, ends with a consonant. Pin, short vowel, ends with a consonant. Then all you have to do is write those syllables in the correct space. So the closed ones we made blue would all get written there. The pink ones, which are the open ones, would all get written underneath there. And the vowel plus R, the R-controlled vowel ones, would all go on the end, underneath vowel plus R, the R-controlled vowels. So I'll just write the first one for you. So open syllables, where's the red one? T is one. Closed syllable, let's find a blue one. Fan. You can even tick them off as you do them, if it makes it easy. A vowel plus R, an R-controlled vowel would be car. Okay, so down the bottom, we're going to do a word sort, and you've got to fill in the missing letters and also write them down the bottom. So let's find those same three colours again. So if we know that it's a short word and it ends with E, it's going to be just writing the E. These words here, the eat, the EA, we're going to make those words red, and the B, where we're using the double E, we can make those blue once we've written them in. So you know that if it's a short word with a long E sound at the end, it's going to be just the E there. So we colour that one orange so we know to write there. Peach, that's something we can eat. That's going to be EA. She, it's at the end of the word. Let's just use the E there. So you've got eat, week, weed, bee, meat, he, leaf, week, tea, bee, we, meat. So make sure if you've got two the same like meat and meat, use one with the double E and one with the EA. So once you've done that, go back and highlight them, and then it'll make it easy for you to know where to write it. So we've got me and she would be orange, so that means they get written there, whereas the peach has the EA in it, so we know that one would get written there. Off you go.